Question 9. I call on the Honourable Member for Douglas Central, Mr Thomas.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. I'd like to ask the Minister for Enterprise what proportion of property purchases were made for rent, owner occupation and for another purpose in the last 12 months based on land registry data and other sources, and if he will make a statement on the changes in these proportions in the last 20 years.
I call on the Minister for Enterprise to reply.
Good morning, Lord. I thank the Honourable Member for his question and certainly understand his desire to seek the split between properties being purchased for buy-to-let landlords as opposed to owner-occupiers. However, I'm afraid this information is not held by the Land Registry or our wider department. Since 2019, the Land Registry has operated a system of charging two separate rates: a discounted rate known as the owner-occupier rate and a standard rate which covers all other transactions. However, owner occupation is not the sole qualification for the discounted rate. For example, transactions with a purchase price over £1 million are not eligible for this rate. Similarly, those who own more than one property are unable to claim the rate even if they are owner-occupiers of the purchased property. So, we are unable to identify the information in this way. There is, however, some relevant information in the census. For example, the census data for 2001 indicated at that time 69% of householders were home occupiers compared to 31% renting households. Similar census data 2011 indicated 67% of households were owner occupiers compared to 33% of households renting. The 2021 census will provide us with up-to-date information about the makeup of the island's housing stock by tenure. It is possible that more use could be made of the rating data to ascertain the information sought by the Honourable Member, and I've asked the Land Registry with Treasury and the Cabinet Office to explore this opportunity.
Supplementary question.
Thank you. Mr Speaker, and I thank the Minister for that answer. It's disappointing, and I'm sure the Minister shares my disappointment, that the Land Registration General Fees and Duty Order Article 6 information cannot be used for this purpose. Does the Minister agree, and he obviously does, I believe, setting up this work, that it's vital that before we make any major decisions that depend on housing, that we know this sort of information?
Minister?
Yes, Gurumaya, I know the Honourable Member is very keen to have data, and obviously we want data to provide evidence for us. Yes, this will be helpful, I would suggest. However, looking at those trend over those last two censuses, it only seen a 2% differential, which when I was looking at the UK to see their Office of National Statistics, their most recent data showed 62%, which showed the Isle of Man actually a higher rate of owner-occupier, which was quite encouraging.
Supplementary question, Mr Thomas.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Unfortunately, the Minister seems to be unaware, or at least his officers haven't advised him, that there's data in the Housing Condition Survey for the private sector that shows that the amount of private rented data between 2008 and 2018 has risen from 17% to 22%, with over a third of those in Douglas and Peel in the private sector now being rented. Does the Minister agree with me that the policy of government seems to be encouraging private renting with those figures? And if it's not, is something wrong in the delivery of the actual policy of government?
Minister to reply.
Lord, no, I don't believe there is an active policy as far as government is concerned to promote rental. Quite the opposite. When the change, if I go back to the Land Registry and the change of the system, which was worked up, I think initially by Mr Shimon's help, this actually helps owner-occupiers in terms of acquiring properties and in terms of the registration fees.
Mr Thomas, supplementary question.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. In 2010, there were twice as many public sector houses built as private houses, nearly 2,000, whereas last year there were only a quarter of that number of public sector houses built, around 50, and private house building went up by 50% to 150. Is that not indicative of government policy and against it's unclear to me what exactly government policy is. Perhaps the Minister for Enterprise can tell me what government policy is with respect to housing.
Minister to reply.
Lord, no, I thank the honourable member. Obviously, pursuing a particular avenue there, and it's getting into the public sector issue, and I don't think that is helpful with related to the actual question before us. So the data, I come back to the census will be the real proof of the pudding, to say the least, will give us that more accurate data.